So the short answer, the easy answer is yes. But a little bit more complex than that in the writing community. So there's two different camps. One side believes that you should just write for yourself, get everything you want out on the page, worry about your audience later. There's another side that believes that as soon as you start planning your writing and planning your project, whatever it is that you're writing, you got to think of your audience. I sit in that camp that really believes that you got to think of your audience right away. And so the reason for that is, number one, as a writer, I've never gone into my writing and thought about strictly about myself. Yes, it's my words on the page, I'm conveying a message, but I am always forward thinking in, okay, who is going to be the reader or the audience that is going to want to read this work, that is going to want to engage with the message that I'm conveying to them. And as a professor of writing and communications, I've taught everything from essays to technical writing like memos and business letters. I've gone into corporations and taught technical writing, and audience is always first and foremost. And so I'll tell you why it's important to think about your audience. First, it influences how you write. So if you're writing poetry and you are writing a spoken word poem, that has a different audience than an epic poem would. If you're writing fiction, romance has a different audience than a Western, than a fantasy, than horror, and so on and so forth. If you are writing an academic essay or dissertation, an academic essay or dissertation based on history that's focusing on maybe the impact of the Civil War in America has a different audience than a political essay or dissertation focused on the validity of a two-party government system. If you are writing a business letter to a new client is written and phrased differently than a business letter or email to a client you have had an established relationship with for a number of years. So thinking about our audience, it influences the way that we write things. The second reason that we need to think about our audience right away is where we're going to publish or submit things later. And for those of you that are just doing your writing for an assignment, you're like, yeah, it's just going to my professor. But there's some of you that are working on essays or dissertations or longer academic writing that you want to submit to peer-reviewed journals. So you're going to have to think of your audience, and that's going to be vital for you. If you are someone that is writing a really hot, steamy romance, that's not going to get published at a lit journal that prefers Hallmark type romances. And vice versa, if you are writing a Hallmark type romance, that is not going to work very well. It's most likely not going to get published by that lit journal that really wants that hot, steamy romance. So when we think about where we're sending things off to, where we're going to pitch them to, where we're going to publish them or submit them, our audience is pinnacle in that. It influences where we're going to send our stuff to. So thinking about our audience from the beginning is vital to the success of the message that we're trying to convey in the writing project that we're working on. Number one, it influences how we write our work. And number two, it influences where we're going to get published at.